no substitutions in the
You know what that sound is? Yeah. That's the sound of JRB on the Table One podcast.
Oh, yeah. That's better work.
Me and my buddy, we making all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They never catching us slacking. Me and my buddy.
Justin,
It's my
take
entire
us
life.
into gambling land.
All right, guys, welcome back to Table One Podcast. Co-host Justin Young, other co-host Art Parman. Very special guest today, Jean-Robert Bellande. JRB is with us. Thank you so much. A million times thank you for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure, guys.
Usually don't have to sit up, but
I feel like a munchkin, and I'm okay with that for some reason. Like
I'm slouching.
I've hugged him probably 100 times in my entire life, and every time I'm like, oh my God, he's so large. He's gonna swallow me, but that's nice.
Easy on the large thing, buddy.
No, I mean, I don't mean like girthy, just like tall. You're very
okay.
Yeah,
you're good to spoon with.
You get me, yeah. Like Kendrick Perkins, he's a large human too. He hates the Lakers for some reason.
Who does?
Kendrick Perkins, the
really?
like Celtics center. He's on like ESPN
right. Yes.
24 hours a day on ESPN.
Right. Well, anyways, Lakers might not be doing so well this series, but the Knights are live today, right?
Dude, this is big.
Here we go.
It's a need be.
My kid's school actually had everybody show up in Knights outfits today.
Yeah. So if you were happen to be from Minnesota and like rooting for the Wild, you just like shunned as a how old are your kids? Sorry, let's start there.
3, 5, and 5.
Okay, that's fair. All right. So no 5-year-old's gonna just get yelled at.
Maybe by the other 5-year-olds. Yeah. This is how you learn, though. Fanhood is real, apparently.
Dude, fanhood is definitely real. I'm also wearing my colors today. Granted for football, but I just got hyped up for the NFL draft. I gotta be happy.
Cool.
All right, so I'm sure you've seen every one of our episodes, and we do appreciate your support. But just in case you haven't, what we typically do is just kind of like take you back a little bit, like when you're like a tiny JRB and lowercase JRB, and then kind of like how you found your way into gambling. So like let's go back into adolescence a little bit. Like I did read some like pretty interesting stuff. Like stuff I had no idea about you, but like Haitian parents, is that correct?
My parents are from Haiti, and they actually met each other in New York. My dad was president of the Haitian Club. Actually, as a kid, I was just telling somebody the other day, my dad took me to the Cosmos soccer game when Pele was playing. They were trying to promote a U.S. league way back in the day. It didn't take, and then the league took 30 or 40 years later. But yeah, so I saw Pele when I was 4 years old. Pretty cool.
Where do they play? Just like in New York? There's only so many
Cosmos,
places.
I feel like it was Brooklyn Cosmos or something like that. Yeah.
Well, you know what they say. Being early is as good as being wrong.
But like you're again, like excuse me if I'm like kind of mixing up the facts or whatever. But like your mom ended up like doing some stuff in Taiwan or like.
Yes. Okay. So when I was 5 years old, the family was getting ready to go to Iran. And my dad was with Grumman Aircraft and doing some sort of government aircraft stuff. He not an engineer, so it must have had something to do with sales with the government or whatnot. And we were set to move to Iran, and that was when the hostage situation happened in 1975. So any American companies that were planning on moving to Iran just scrapped that thing. And so it was a big change for us to go from Iran to Taiwan. It's just, and I just think about how my life would be so different, I'd be hanging out with Antonio, telling a story. Who knows? I don't know,
You, Antonio, and Freddie Deeb.
Yeah, exactly.
A little Iranian home game.
For
Might
real.
still be there, just
For real.
killing each other.
It's interesting how the world just like my mom was so excited to go to Iran. My mom was a beauty queen and a dancer, and she had it in her mind that she was at some point going to dance with the Shah of Iran, and she was just determined she was going to do that at some point. Yeah, of course that never happened, and we no longer have a Shah. But the Shah days, Iran looked like. I would have loved to hang out in the Shah days for sure.
Shout out to the Shaw days.
Yeah.
So did you actually go to Taiwan or the entire family?
I grew up, so the family moved to Taiwan. We were there from I went to school, elementary and high school there. Went to boarding school in high school, and then moved to California when I was 17.
Okay, I need to hear about the boarding school just a little bit before we go on to like a U.S.
And do you speak Chinese? Yeah?
I speak a little bit, enough to get by.
Crack a few jokes.
Which I've heard him do, and it seems like a magic trick. Like, no, they're just placating him. They're just like nodding. Like, yeah. But no, like, so what was the boarding school like? Was it more Americanized, or was it,
it
kind
was
of a good mix?
They call it international school, but it's mostly American. It was American curriculum and whatnot. And actually, the very few Chinese attended our school. You needed a foreign passport to go to our school.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I've heard of those. Like, you get a lot of American off, like, in one of my friends that lived in Qatar in the Middle East. He went to one of those, and it's, like you said, just kids from the base or with parents, private jobs that are American happen to be over there.
Yeah, actually, the Chinese people that did attend our school were normally Ecuadorian or someplace where you could pay 50 or 100,000 and get a passport for your kids. So you could afford the passport, get them into foreign school. You know, so the rich Asians did that. So
Interesting.
So, pardon more of the question, some more curiosity or whatever. But like, were you living on like some kind of campus, or were you like kind of traveling to and fro?
for high school, I was living on campus, and the school where I went to was in Taichung, Taiwan, which is about a 2.5-hour car drive. Right now, they probably have high-speed trains where you could do it in an hour. But so I would go and visit my parents basically once every 2 weeks, or they would come up to Taichung and visit me. But I mean, I loved my high school years. It was really incredible. Small classes, like 35 people in my graduating class. A small Christian university. I loved it. It was all about, my school was all about soccer. And we played all the sports, but it was like a soccer school. Yeah, and I just loved it.
Were you competitive in soccer? Or?
I played okay. I was the tallest guy. I had a killer header.
Bonk.
Yeah.
You guys remember that video game, Bonk? Sorry, go ahead.
Anyways, so I've always enjoyed the competitiveness of sports, and that translated into eventually, playing ping pong and pool and foosball, all of which I'm okay at. It's like, I think, you think you're pretty good in Taiwan playing with your friends, and then I come over here and I'm talking shit with Ben Lamb whooped me so badly in ping pong. I don't think I wanted to pick up a paddle since.
Gotcha.
Man, it's unbelievable. You would not, Ben Lamb, ping pong, seriously, the guy's a ping pong wizard.
Careful out there.
Sorry, Ben. If
No, ruin your hustle. If you compete against Ben Lamb and anything he wants to compete against you at, you're gonna lose. I'm sorry. Like, I love Ben. Ben's gonna be on our podcast soon. Can't wait. But yeah, I've lost so much money to that guy.
Ben's gonna come on the podcast. The guy who I was actually pretty competitive with in ping pong, and we had so much fun. I don't know why we stopped playing. Was Adam Bilzerian, Dan Bilzerian's brother.
Yeah.
Like, we would go back and forth. The reason why I have so much trouble with Ben is he does all that crazy top spin stuff, which I should know since I grew up in Asia.
That's true.
You'll go like this, and the ball just goes that way or that. Adam and I both play like tennis style top spin back and forth, so we'd have long rallies, and I love that kind of ping pong.
Yeah, it sucks when you try to hit it and it just like touches your paddle and goes flying that way.
Exactly. What kind of fun is that?
All right, really quick, guys. Phenom Poker is out now. It is live, and if you want to support Table 1, just go to joinphenompoker.com, and that will help us. Fill in your information, and you'll be on with us.
Tons of people on there, tons of action, especially until Art and I will run out of money, I think.
That's true. And we are doing some sort of free roll. Anyone who signs up through our link, we're going to eventually reveal the details on Twitter, but if you sign up through our link, we are going to go all in up to 10 times at $100 no limit until somebody wins the $100. We might stack you 10 times and you'll lose 1,000 in this promotion, but we are trying to give away 100. So if we accidentally stack you 10 times, thanks. Thanks for playing. All right, join phenompoker.com. Now!
So was there any kind of like gambling in this Christian boarding school in Taiwan? It seems like a tough hill to climb.
Not there. The taste for gambling came in university, where me and a lot of the guys from the basketball team, and I wasn't on the basketball team. I was just
tall enough to like fit in.
Yeah. I was one of those guys that in high school, I was varsity tennis, varsity track, varsity soccer, varsity basketball, and then you get to university, and you're just not good enough to make the team here, and just not good. I feel like if I had just focused on one sport, I could have done quite well. But I kind of built for basketball, and I just never really focused on it. And then I had an injury, and I hurt my pinky when I was a freshman in high school. So that affected my shooting a lot. So. I had the love for soccer, but I'm a little tall to be a soccer player,
So I was hoping you'd just be a goalie, because like you just lay down and just block the net.
Probably should have been a goalie.
All right.
I probably should have been. So in university, you start playing, foosball games for $10 a pop here and there, and it wasn't great at foosball, but good enough. And then eventually, you're really competitive, and we had this group in our school called the Jedis. Like, once you beat a Jedi, you're in the Jedi Club. So we were determined not to let the non-Jedis into this club. It was like a club of like 6 or 7 guys, and all you had to do was beat a Jedi once to become a Jedi. And it was like there was no way we were going to let any punks get into this exclusive club.
Great. So you might not try your hardest all the time, but whenever that was on the line.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But with each other, we battled back and forth. It's crazy. Man, you go like this, and it's like whip, and you hear that ball hit the back of the thing, and then we're like
rattles around.
Where is it? Or the ball comes out the other goal.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's sexy, bro.
So the Jedi Club was exclusively for foosball?
The Jedi Club was for foosball.
And so you got laid after college, is what you're saying.
And we go through periods where we're in love with ping pong for a while. With ping pong, actually we didn't gamble. With ping pong, we did 20 push-ups. So you would have to go, and as soon as you lose your game of ping pong, do your push-ups and get right back up and
back in the fight.
Yeah.
Back in the rally.
And if you got skunked, you had to do 30 push-ups. And you get right there, and the next day, you see your buddy at lunch. Oh man, Robert, you're looking all swolled up, man. Look at you, jacked, because he made me do push-ups all night long.
Yeah, well, you can't lift your spoon for your cereal.
And it's interesting because when you're in high school and you're playing basketball, and I remember the coach telling me what an early coach is saying, when you work out might affect your shooting, and then later on they start to do more research saying that the working out, if you go and you balance and you practice back and forth, it actually helps you. And right after you're done push-ups, you have to make that adjustment. And it actually was good for your game. Same thing with the basketball. You go and you work out, and Steph Curry. Yesterday I was watching something where it says this guy he leg presses 400 pounds. The guy looks like he weighs 130, right? Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's put on some weight. He's so much better defensively than he was 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, he's so much better. There's a liability.
Fling him out of the way anymore.
Yeah, no, he's scrappy to say the least.
We're always super competitive, and then with the pool. I mean, I was like very, very. You thought you were decent, but I was actually terrible at pool. But compared to my friends, I played okay. And then when I moved to Hollywood area, kind of when I graduated school, there was this really nice pool room called Hollywood Athletic Club. I mean, this place was gorgeous. This is 30 years ago, 35 years ago. They were already charging $12 an hour for a table.
Holy shit.
You can imagine how nice this
Better
place
gambling.
must have been.
They probably had a line out the door too.
That would be the equivalent of charging like probably 20 or 25 an hour right now, right? And I'm telling you, like on a Friday evening, before people go out, everybody would just kind of congregate there. You'd have all the hottest girls in Hollywood, the actresses, whatever, and everybody would go there. And then from there, they would go to the Roxbury or Bar One or whatever the cool club was during the time. And I mean, I loved Hollywood Athletic Club. I was there 5 days a week. Just go in the afternoon, and I would just play. When the pool time was, it was halftime, half the time until 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. Until 6 p.m. You got to pay half for 8. So I'd be in there at like 1 p.m. every day playing. And you're playing for like $10 or $20 a game. And that's when I got my little taste for gambling.
I was gonna say, how are you supporting yourself to be just out after? This is after college.
This is after university. I was definitely not supporting myself playing pool.
So what did you graduate when in university?
I graduated from a small Christian university called Azusa Pacific University. It's in Azusa, California, right near Glendora, Pasadena. I graduated with a marketing degree.
Okay.
And
what was the goal? I mean, like at the time, what was the goal for you? Like, what was like kind of your like pipe dream? Pre-gambling, obviously.
Probably gonna get into business and eventually start my own business.
Okay.
My dad did like fabric and textiles trading when we were in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up finishing his contract for Grumman. Instead of coming back to the States, he stayed out there and did some international trade. And
oh, you crushed it then.
yeah. So I was one of those guys where, when you hear the telex machine, you ever heard of a telex machine?
I have.
And that thing's shaking around. Every time that telex machine, that was good news for my family because that meant we were getting like a $4,000 order or something. And Pops was excited and the kids were excited. When that thing would go crazy, it's like almost bouncing off the floor. Yeah.
What is a telex machine?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it like a fax machine?
It's funny, dude. Because if people don't know what a Rolodex is right now, how in the world are they going to know a telex? He knows what a telex machine is.
I'm just old enough, and my dad was he was old when he had me, so like I feel like I was like born into like an older generation than I.
We're like the three Russian dolls of like oldness, where it's like, bloop, bloop, bloop. Like I'm not that young. I'm 37.
It was this big old machine. Basically, it was a typewriter, and it was pre-computer days. And that's the way you would get an order, like an official order from some other place.
It's
like
like
a
typewriter with a connection, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sold.
I'm pretty sure you've seen the '80s movie, like early '80s, like with it, and just not even realize what it was. You're like,
that thing is
silly technology back then. That's stupid.
Yeah, probably.
So now I'm in Hollywood in my early 20s, and I'm enjoying playing pool, $20 a game. And losing for the most part, always losing. I mean, but it didn't matter because
just like odd jobs supporting you.
Oh my gosh, I was making so much money when I was 21. It didn't matter, They looked for me. I would get in the parking lot. They would meet me in the parking lot. Hey, you want to play? You want to play? You want to play? Because they knew that for me, any day I broke even in the pool room was like a great day for me. There was zero chance I was going to break even. Because I would just play whatever spot that they get. Now, it's like I see how hard these guys negotiate now. I'm like, dude, no. The biggest spot I would ever get was 10-7. And, that was like, there was zero, like, oh man, it was incredible. I was just getting robbed and robbed and robbed. But I love the game and I love the competition. So I was promoting nightclubs. And by the way, probably grossly underpaid for the amount of success that I had in Hollywood. I mean, buddy, I used to have these clubs just rocking and rolling. I had the celebrities, the hot girls, the big spenders. I mean, so many clubs experienced the best night of their entire years open on nights that I was there. So, I did the Gates. This was a really a cool thing. I did this. I called it the World Cup party. So World Cup's coming to the U.S. World Cup's a new thing for Americans, and so had anybody thrown a World Cup soccer party at a really nice exclusive club. So at the time I'm promoting the most exclusive club in Hollywood, which means probably the most exclusive club in the world, called The Gate. And I had a successful Thursday there, and I told the owners, I said, listen, the World Cup's coming up. I'd like that Sunday, and we'll just chop the night. I'll take the door, you take the bar.
Wow.
And of course they're like, yeah, no, we'll give you 75% of the door. But are you sure World Cup? I mean, nobody really cares about World Cup money. I'm like, yeah, well. So I called it the World Cup soccer party and made it look as official as possible. All bullshit. And I got to work, and everybody starts talking about this thing, and all of a sudden, it takes such fire that the reservations, the club's completely sold out like 3 or 4 days in advance, and it's a Sunday, and the owners are looking at me like I'm a god, like what in the world? How would you do this? I mean, La Cienega Boulevard was like shut down. The crowd was so far out into the middle of the thing, and. And word got back to the actual players. I forget who was in the finals. It was Spain and France. Whoever was in the finals, we had at least 25 of the players show up at my event that I just made up. Yeah. So, we had a lot of fun in our 20s.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to start your own rumor, and then they call it a marketing degree.
Dude, that's sick.
See, and I was young at the time, and the deals for the big promoters weren't as lucrative as they are now. Like now, I would just go and insist on 20% of the entire night or something like that, and get a piece of that bar, because that's where the real money is. But yeah.
I mean, if you're playing Bin Lam heads up and you're losing at pool every day, I don't think you're quite ready for negotiation yet. I mean, I certainly would have been, but so did this kind of propel you into coming towards Vegas clubs, or did you stay in LA, Hollywood, kind of doing that for a good bit?
Hollywood was a market that I knew and I understood. There was a big limitation in Hollywood in that the nightclubs all close at 2. And at that time, it meant that they had to start picking up all the liquor off the floor around 1:30. So last call in LA at that time was 1:30. Now they become a lot more relaxed about it, and they push it till 2. And there's still liquor out on the floor till 2:30 or 3 or whatever. But they never changed the law, and they probably should have. The restaurant lobby screwed up in LA, by the way. When they were going to concede the cigarettes, no more cigarettes, they should have said, okay, but you got to give us a couple more hours to make money. That should have been a natural thing. I was way too young at the time to go and really push for it. But that absolutely should have been done. I mean, in LA to this day, you cannot get liquor after 2 a.m. It's so absurd. And in my opinion, all it does is it forces people to let me try and get my drunk on, and then
it's more dangerous.
Way more dangerous instead of people being able to pace themselves and whatnot. I think it's just absurd.
Yeah,
but I was always drawn to the idea of moving to Vegas and getting involved in the club scene. And the clubs in Vegas at the time, Las Vegas had it all wrong. They treated VIP so shitty. I mean, you'd be out there, you'd have money ready to spend, you'd be out in a regular line with everybody else trying to get into Utopia or Roxbury. They had a Roxbury Las Vegas for a minute. You guys know that?
I had no idea.
No.
No idea.
I just thought they made that up for the movie.
Yeah.
That was a real place.
Well, it was in New York, right? Or
Roxbury, or the original one was in Hollywood. That was the first. That was the first club I worked at.
That's right.
And then they opened one in Orange County, and then they had one in Vegas for maybe 2 years. Yeah, it was over there behind where Fat Burger is. You know what I'm talking about? There's it was called Utopia for a while, and and now I think it's some gay club or something. Yeah, but yeah. So I should have moved to Vegas 10 years before I did. I had my own club going in in LA from the time I was 25 to around 30.
That's crazy.
And I really wish I had moved to Las Vegas earlier. But by the time I came to Las Vegas had kind of figured out how to do the clubs, and then became more of a corporate type of thing. Because to me, I couldn't understand how they could do because I was all about relationship promoting, and I would have been very effective actually had I come to Vegas, because you know your customers. That was what I always pushed. And the people that worked for me, I'm like, look, you can't just hand out flyers or anything. You want to build relationships with these people and have them show up, because when they come and they're coming to see JRB, or they're coming to see art, that was the idea, and they know they're going to be able to mingle with you, and whether it's I would always teach the guys that were working with me, anytime you see a girl with her boyfriend, make sure you give him all the attention with it. Don't worry, she'll escape and come to you privately, but you got to show them respect, and he'll appreciate it and she'll appreciate it, and I was very, very good at that business. Yeah.
And in that window, like when you said you didn't come to Vegas till you're 30?
I came here. Yeah, I came here. Actually, in my early 30s. My nightclub shut down, and my pops passed away, and it was a really, really difficult time for me. Right at the same time, I broke with the girl I thought I was going to marry. We were together for 5 years. Jeez. And I was broke at the time. One of the number of times I've been broke in my life, I went to Prague to just get away. Jeff Wasserson invited me to Prague. He's like, look, I'm about to open a poker room there if you want to get away. And I was just thinking, wow, you go spend 2 months in Prague, get away, just like clear my head and try and and I absolutely loved it out there. And it was like building a new life for myself out there with Jeff. And we started a poker room right there in downtown Prague in the casino. And that was when, now I'm using some of my nightclub promoting skills. Mm-hmm. And, I fancied myself, a decent poker player, but I was god awful. But as awful as I was in Prague,
you were a superstar.
I was making money.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, was there? When did poker kind of come onto the horizon for you between the 20s and 30s?
So that was when I first started actually earning, because my deal with Jeff and the casino was they paid my. I had a really, really nice flat. 200 square meters. I had a sauna in my bedroom, hardwood floors, 14 feet ceilings, right in the middle of the downtown. It was incredible. And so if we had any guests, they would come and stay with me. I had the master bedroom, and then I had like two other rooms, so the guests could always stay with me. But so that was
JRB.
That was part of my gig. So I have that flat, plus I was getting $5,000 salary, and then whatever I won in the game.
Were you getting put in these games, or were you putting yourself in and just
no, Jeff was taking me in the game.
Okay.
Was I really being staked? I don't know.
Was it a free roll, or?
It wasn't a free roll. It wasn't a free roll. But I was being staked. Jeff was staking me. That's right. Yeah, but I was actually break even winning. And all I needed to do was break even, because
you get 5,000 extra.
5,000. Yeah, and by the way, 5,000 isn't like 5,000 in New York or LA. $5,000 in Prague. I mean, dude, I'm just telling you.
And I'm sure the girls didn't care about that at all.
Buddy,
oh my God.
Buddy, let me just tell you, at that time in Prague, I remember a guy telling me that once you take a girl to dinner, that's like a done deal. I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, no, dude, it's like done. You take a girl to a nice dinner, and it's understood that. I'm like, stop, you gotta be kidding me. Buddy, I could not believe it, dude. I mean, first of all, but it is a little more difficult to actually get a girl to like a super hot, like crazy hot girl, to have her agree to go to dinner with you. But you go to a nice dinner, and it is crazy, dude. It's like, they're just down 100. What in the world? I'm like, this is crazy. Isn't it? Like, I'm like, no, that does not mean that we have to sleep together. I'm like, just like, look, you know.
She's already taking her top off. She's like,
well, you got to understand with my gig, not only so first, you know, you take the girl to the nicest dinner she's ever had in her life, right? And then, hey, let's go stop by my apartment, and then you see the look in the eyes when they look at this apartment.
Some Mecca, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was. Whew. Anyways, I thought I was never leaving Prague. This was the greatest gig ever, man. I was having so much fun winning at poker. We literally playing, I think, 7 nights a week.
What was the game for you back then?
It was the equivalent of 2-5.
Like 2-card, no limit? Or?
Yeah, 2-card, no limit. Okay. Yeah, only limit. Okay. It was equivalent of a 2-5 game. And we did it right there. You know, they moved the slot machines out for us, so we had our little spot. And we provided a complimentary buffet for people for 1 hour that would come. And the casino was excited because they're getting traffic to come in their casino to play roulette or slots or whatever.
Is this like the year 2000 then, something like that, around there?
Yeah, that's right. Sounds right about that.
Okay.
It was
crazy.
2001, 2002.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I would travel with Jeff in Europe and play little tournaments like in Vienna or in Amsterdam, Barcelona, and that was always fun. And I ran with Jeff for like a couple of years doing those tournaments. But I lived in Prague. I thought I was never going to leave there. I just loved it, and it was like a whole new life for me. I was ready to just be there forever until November came around, and then, you know, when it gets so cold, the ears start burning. Yeah.
So it's hard to get the ladies to go to dinner with you in November.
Well, I'm gonna get
he's like Joey Tribbiani at that point. He's like already cycled through all the women in Prague. he said he was going 7 nights a week, man. I mean, he had to be chafed down there.
Well, no, it's funny he says that because it was. I remember taking Sundays off. Sundays was like date-free day. The Sundays was for sure date-free. No hanging out with any girls on Sunday. We need a little
recovery
day.
Day.
A little relaxation recovery day. That really happened. Man, that was crazy. I mean, that was my single days. I had at least 2 girlfriends that were like my girlfriends, but the girlfriends understood that I was single.
So you got to eat, you know?
I was dating. I literally remember my girlfriend coming out, and I was just, man, I remember her coming out of the bedroom with the blonde hair, and she says, what's this? She says, you see this? And she says, it's blonde. And I went up to it, and I looked at it. I'm like, yeah, it is. And that was the end of the conversation. I said, yes, it is.
There's a comedian, Mitch Hedberg, he passed away a bit ago, but like he has a great line. He's like, I don't have a girlfriend. I just know a bunch of girls would be upset if they heard me say that. That's such a good fucking line. Sorry, just kind of, I've never got to live 100%. That life, but like.
No, that was my, this is, I mean, it's fun to be able to talk about this stuff. Now I'm an extremely happily married man. You know, if you ever met my wife, she's you know, I got to marry my dream girl. So, you know, you're very, very fortunate there. So
what pushed you out of Prague then?
I'm telling you that cold.
Weather? The cold.
I was like,
dude,
no way,
Haitian, man. Like you gotta get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Gets under 30.
Lived in LA and lived in Taiwan and lived in LA. I mean, I'm used to like tropical weather.
Yeah, it's about 75 degrees in here. He's got a beanie on, guys.
Yeah. This is coming up. Yeah.
It's getting hot telling all those stories.
Yeah.
Are you tired of playing with players like this? Not this.
No.
Like this? Or this?
Or do you want to play with players like this?
Oh, wait. If you like having fun at the poker table, Table 1 is the game for you. We play high stakes, no limit, 100 blinds. And if you want to get into the game, it's actually super easy. We have a website, table1.vegas. You just go to the website, you click get a seat in the game, and fill out the form. It's that easy. It's your name, it's your phone number, it's the date that you're here, and I will personally reach out to you.
And it's only $5K minimum buy-in. Run it up at 2.5 and join us.
So come home, and then eventually, I was pretty tight with Joe Cassidy. I worked my way to Las Vegas, and I'm living with him. He one of his horses just won the WPT.
Joe Bartoli,
right?
Yeah, we had him on about 2 months ago.
Great episode.
Yeah. So he bought himself a nice house in Southern Highlands, and so I lived there for a few years with him. And my job was basically to scout whenever somebody wanted to play him super high limit heads up, like the 4,000 limit hold'em heads up. Yeah, I sweated Joe playing 1,000, 2,000, 500, 1K limit hold. I don't know how anybody could have sweat more hands than I have. It's interesting because I'm actually a better than fair limit hold'em player.
I agree with that.
Right now, that I actually play the game decent, and it's because I watch so many hands with Cassidy, and like saw his thought process, and he's over there, and I see this young genius mind. At one time there was maybe 4 or 5 players that were like in a league of their own, with Eric 123. Mm-hmm. Joe Cassidy, and then a couple other guys. This guy Freedom 25, and there were basically a handful of people. And like I'm talking, like even David Oppenheim was like not crazy about.
So
playing
these are
with these
online
guys.
Matches that you're sweating?
Yeah. And I'm just telling you, there was an elite club that nobody else would mess with heads up. Like I'm telling you, even Dave Oppenheim would not jump into that group back then. Yeah. Phil Ivey wasn't jumping in there, and Phil happened to be really good friends with Joe too. And Phil and Joe coming up at the same time. Obviously, Phil was way ahead of him, but playing all the games. Joe just was like sticking in his lane to limit hold'em. Joe's a fantastic mixed game player now too, by the way. Yeah, and it's funny. Joe and I to this day are like still super tight. Now all he does is travel around the world. I don't even know where he is right now.
I was just gonna. Is this still home base for him or?
No. He's not here in Vegas. He has his condo still in LA, I think. But he could be in Costa Rica right now. He could be in Thailand. He loves traveling, and he goes with the flow. Wherever the wind blows, he's ready. Because he's playing online or playing, wherever he goes. And,
it's a good way to live life. Sounds nice anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to touch a little bit on your tournament success. I know that's kind of a blip on like your gambling career, but I just want to at least let them know that like
you said tournament success. I'm trying to think, what success did I have in tournaments?
Just like there's one thing all 3 of us have in common. We all won the first tournament on our Hennen Mob, I think. Oh no, wait, mine's second place.
That's true at all.
You got to win on your $100 tournament
okay.
for like $1,100.
So, I mean, the first time I remember watching you on TV, and like when I was poker, nerd's not the right thing because I wasn't a nerd, but like whatever, like a super fan, like one of those. It was the circuit event in Rio. In
that was 2005. Yeah.
And
like Jen Harmon was at that table, and so was Phil Ivey.
Yeah, this is right after the Moneymaker boom. So like this is like one of the first like televised events after that where like everyone's tuning in like a weekly. Like they space it out over a couple events or a couple weeks, and like you just couldn't wait till the next one. But like that's what when I like saw you and like. Okay. A man crush, but kind of fell in love with you.
No, but it's interesting as you tell the story because there's almost like a reason for some of the success. First of all, I was god awful. I mean, I'm not any kind of great player now, but
I was good in 2005.
Okay, but right, exactly. He's right. Who was good in 2005?
Nobody.
However, my confidence was through the roof because of my success rate in Prague. You know, so I'm coming back here. I couldn't wait. Like I couldn't wait to compete, play these WPTs, play the World Series of Poker events, get my bracelet. You know, and I was so excited about that. So when I came back, sure, I was going and playing any kind of 5K or 10K event. That one you're talking about was, I think that was at the Rio.
It was a Rio. Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's almost confusing because at the time the World Series of Poker was at the Rio, but that was a circuit event that was played at
and
the
they
Rio.
used the same chips. I remember that for sure.
Okay.
I my first year playing the main event, they sell the 10K blue chips. And like I remember you guys still using them, or I could be misstepping, but I don't think I am because I remember like, oh, I remember those chips.
Men the Master like that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it was a star-studded, like whatever. The top 18 had like tons of like amazing players or whatever.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, I feel like I bad beat Scotty Wynn maybe. Oh yeah, because I got scolded by one of my mentors. He says, wait. He says, Scotty Wynn 5-bet you, and you thought your 2 queens were good? Did you have a 3rd queen in your pocket? I remember the guy telling me, did you think you had a 3rd queen? I banked the queen on Scotty's kings or something like that. He's like, what? He said, what? It was, I'm trying to think of his name, a big old burly from Colorado. He used to be a staple at Commerce. He used to play the 25-50. Do you know what I'm talking about? Huge guy, older guy. He ended up passing away like about 10 years ago.
No.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah. But he's like, what? What? Did you have a 3rd queen in your pocket?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
3rd queen in your pocket?
I thought I was good. Yeah, because that happened with 2 tables left. And that's why it got me a nice little chunk of chips.
Yeah, this is back in the day where like first place was double second place and second place was basically double third place. So like, I mean, I know you got 3rd place in that, but it was still a chunk of change or whatever. But like the disparity between 3rd and first was like 4x or something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But then you just go on and like I think you just win the next tournament you play. Like, is that right? Like when? Sorry if I'm. I don't know the enunciation. Winning the green. Winning.
Oh wow, green. That's right. Yeah. Winning on the green. That was at the Bicycle Casino. Yeah, Bicycle or Commerce, something like that. Yeah, Bicycle.
Yeah, I think it was Bike. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I remember reading a card player, and I was like, "Man, this guy's fucking hot." Like,
this is a small, insignificant. Well, that one actually paid
like $150,000 back then. That's so much money.
Oh, that's right.
It was a lot of a lot of coin.
I went. I went on a little hot little streak there. Yeah, and you know, tournaments. You know, to this day, I like these guys that go and grind out tournaments for a living. You know, I give it up to you because that's a tough way to make a living. Because I mean, you think about it. First of all, just to cash, it's only 12% of the field, right? Maybe 15, and every spot is a disappointment except for first. I mean, how many times have we gotten second and it's like a heartbreak, and everybody else is like, "Oh, congratulations," and you're like,
"Fuck."
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just like to be able to live that life. Sometimes when you see these grumpy old fucks, you know, you think maybe it's because the tournament thing turned them into this. You know,
I'm looking into my future.
Yeah. So you know, cash game is a lot more rewarding because you're hoping to win at least 50% of the time. I remember a lot of people don't know this, but Tom Dwan's the first guy to ever stake me in poker. And well, he staked me at the RE anyways. But I remember him. It was interesting because Tom staked me at one point, and then Robl staked me at one point, and Robl was going to try and mentor me into being a 60% winner. He's like Tom's winning player, but Tom only wins 35-40% of the time. But when he wins so much that it overcomes. You know, he's like, I'm trying to get you to the point where you can win 60%, 65%. And I'm like, is there such a thing, really? And by the way, that never happened.
I don't think that's the thing.
That would never happen.
Not for you. I mean,
It's not a thing.
Probably one of those
Not a
things-
thing, not a thing, but I will tell you that I would not be surprised if Robl has a lifetime 65% win rate. I mean,
game selection.
Well, game selection also. Also, when you're producing your own game and you're by far the best player in the game. Shoot, there were games when I might have been the second best player in the game, and I mean, that's a pretty good situation for Robl and I.
Yeah.
Man, we had a nice run together. 5 years, and we did very, very well together. That was fun. I have a lot of respect for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Robl too. Like, I actually just saw his dad today. He was playing the daily at Aria, and like we've kind of struck a friendship, him and I. But I think it's kind of nice. This is like we kind of like go over and talk to each other a little bit. Like, no one else in the $200 daily knows what the fuck, like, who he is or anything like that.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but like at the same point, it's like, this is Robl's dad, and you guys are like,
yeah. And he's the nicest guy too.
Robl is
wow.
nice.
I mean, what? Just that's, what a life. Do you have your son in college and he's talking about dropping out to play poker and you're horrified, right? And I mean, I don't know if you know this Robl story. He bought in $50 online. He went busted, reloaded another 25, and has never.
Never looked back.
Never looked back since. Never had to borrow money from people. Just never looked back.
Yeah, always been in the right place at the right time too. He was doing like sit and goes when sit and goes was easy. He was doing cash online when cash online was easy, and now he's doing cash in the real world when he can make the game.
He had a good balance between like the meta game of poker as well as like the meta game as well. Like, because like whatever, like everyone can like be a robot and play like the game you want, but he also had like the understanding of like, how can I grow myself? How can I grow my business? And like no one's been better. Maybe Antonio to an extent, but like those two are kind of like up there when it comes to that shit.
He knew I was a good game runner, and he like let me do my thing and kind of like trying to help me to get better, even though he knew I was doing some impossible things. And I would be like, Andrew, you got to play faster, bro. You got to play faster. This is because recreational players do. They're just not having it. You take forever. They get bored and they just don't want to play. And right now, Robl is one of the fastest players you'll ever see play. But I can't even tell you the nightmare of him playing Fabrice hands back in the day because they were both so slow. And it would be like the whole table's waiting 18 minutes. The dealer changes and everything. I'm like, wait a second here. There's no way. And that same guy. Who he is, right? And he would just, and it's interesting because he would tell me I'm playing way too many hands, and I would like tell him, and I would be like counter, like you might want to play a few more hands first of all to give some more action, and also because some of the guys we're playing with will misplay their hands so often. It's okay for you to be in there and capitalize on it, And it's funny because. He pushed me a little this way. I pushed him. Like, to be honest with you, Andrew probably isn't at the skill level he could be if he was like really running around with all the sharps, all the Triton guys, whatever. Yeah. But he's
making more money.
Absolutely,
that's for fucking sure.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, and when I tell you, he soaked in the good stuff. And by the way, he is a fantastic game runner himself. He might be the best game runner out there right now. And just like the other day, he's like, by the way, you're welcome to come join us in Montenegro. I'm like, hey, hell, sign me up. I mean, I'm happy to ever get a seat in his games. I mean, his games are the best ever. Yeah, it used to be my games are the best ever. Now it's his games are the best ever. Of course, not too many people can afford his games anymore.
Yeah, it's nice to be friends with him too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
that's dope. Like when you get the tap on the shoulder, you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to play with him a couple times on stream and stuff like that, which can't go through unless he has approval. But like, where he's like, oh, Robl said you're fine. I'm like,
oh, sweet.
It's like, that's amazing. Or does he think I'm that bad? It doesn't matter. I'm in. Exactly. I'm in either way.
You're gonna at least have a chance. I know
Exactly. But and this is something for other guys that run your games. I mean, one of the reasons why Robl's had the success he has is because he's always done what he said he's going to do. He keeps his word. He's a good guy, and he's kind to people. He's not being an asshole. Not like he just very, very, very good soul, good person. And I was very fortunate to be partners with him for a long time, and we had a nice run together.
I agree with all that, by the way. Yeah, most of the time, game runners can be a little slimy, I will say. Present company excluded or whatever, but you can get in tough situations to kind of put yourself above other people. But he handles it with such grace. It's amazing. He's just if anything, he just takes everything for the team. He's like, all right, whatever, I don't care. I'll do it. And I'm sure that comes with success and knowing you're going to win in the long run. But taking that temperament is it's graceful. It's nice.
Yeah, I've never heard a bad word about him. So, and I don't really know him, but no, seems like a stand-up dude.
I do want to go back to the tournaments just for another little tick, because I'm very, very curious about your deep run in the 50K Poker Player Championship, and I think it was 17, 18. I know we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but did anyone have a piece of you? What motivated you to play? At the time, it was the poker tournament, and it still probably is, in all honesty.
Well, and some people don't know about that specific tournament. Is that tournament was a 10-game championship.
That's right. They added the other games.
They added Badoogie and Deuce to 7, two of which are my specialties. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think I'm a Badoogie player. When I used to play Poker Stars, I used to sit, waiting for anybody to play me Badoogie heads up. I love Badoogie, and Deuce to 7 No Limit is I think that's
terrible at the game, but it's such a lovely game.
That is
such a good game.
What do you think? What did you say?
I said I'm terrible at the game, but it's a wonderful game. It's beautiful.
I think it's the most perfect poker game there is, because it involves math, it involves bluffing, bluff catching, and just it's everything pure poker. Soul reads. I mean. And you look at the greatest poker players have been in there. You see the Nick Schulmans, the John Monetts, the Phil Ivies, the Doyle Brunson. Jennifer Harmon actually has maybe 2 bracelets in that event. She has at least 1.
It's Billy Baxter. He has a few or something.
I think Bobby Baldwin has one.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying it's it's a pure poker game, and honestly, I would love to see that game catch a lot more popularity. Back in the day, the way that you have your no limit game at table 1, or I have my no limit game, people have PLO games, the big game was actually a no limit deuce game. That was, they were playing so big. They were playing $500 ante or 1K ante from everybody at the table, and then the blinds would be 1K, 2K.
And they weren't capped back in the day.
Yeah, that's right. No.
They are sometimes.
This is 40 years ago, 30 years ago they were doing this. So, but anyways, So those 2 games being in there actually gave me at the time I thought it gave me an edge against the field, but it certainly gave me a lot of confidence that now everybody knows how to play Badoogie. Maybe people, but in 2018 that was kind of a newer game for a lot of people still, and and actually the funny thing is the guy I ended up heads up with, Brodowski, what's his name?
Gordinsky.
Gordinsky.
Yeah.
He looks like the head coach of the Miami. Every time I'm like, how is Gordinsky coaching? My cousin plays for Miami. How is Gordinsky coaching my
Art, put us side by side, please, right now.
It's funny. Unbelievable. And he and I have, we have battled no less than thousands of hours online, heads up and in ring games, from when we were playing, from the times we were playing 20-40 mixed games to 400 to 800 mixed games on Poker Stars. Gordinsky and I have so many hours logged in, and that the 2 of us were heads up for this championship was crazy. And I actually had a 2-1 chip lead on him for a minute, but the blinds are so big at that point.
Lose one Raspot and you're just,
and that is what happened. It was some sort of low ball game, but anyways, it was a great tournament, and for sure he definitely it was well deserved. But that would have been fun for me to win that one. That would have been really exciting. Yeah.
That's just sick. That's kind of on my bucket list or whatever. Like his 50K is still a lot of money to me, but like I don't know, just it's just so cool. Like you cash for $750,000.
You asked if somebody had a piece of it. I'm not sure if anybody did.
Wow. Well, that's the thing. Like I mean, I know you're very proficient, like high-low player when it comes to stud in Omaha. I know you're a good limit player. But still, like it takes a level of confidence to like chunk up $50,000 to play, because like you're only gonna get 5% of what anyone would consider like whales. Even though like every mixed game player in the world's gonna say everyone's a whale in this game. I'm the best, which is the beautiful thing about mixed games, because like everyone thinks everyone sucks, and it's great. It's true. Like I mean, you talk to anyone off the table, or it's like, why are you playing this game? It's so tough. Or like, no, he sucks. He sucks at 4 games. He sucks at 3 games. You just go down the list.
He's right. It's nuts. Everybody thinks everybody else is terrible.
I guess that's the beauty of having a bunch of different games in one mix. I don't play a lot of mix, but like everybody has one game that they feel like that at least they can say. It's kind of like you don't want to be the worst player at the table. You want to be able to point to who is. But like if you have one game you think that you're like top 2 in, then it doesn't matter, right? You could just look at everyone and be like, oh well, I'm top 2 in this one, and these guys they're making mistakes a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Just like in any kind of form of poker or whatever, you see like 4 mistakes in an hour that you can like blatantly see, and you're just like, oh, I'm winning this game clearly, even though you're disregarding like your 19 mistakes in the meantime.
And your stone cold tilt that you're on.
Yeah.
It's funny because like one of the strategies in that dealer's choice tournament, which is a great tournament by the way.
It is. Yeah.
I have found myself playing not even close to one of my top games because I watched a player at the table or 2 players at the table playing a certain game so terribly that all you can do is choose that game. And it's ridiculous to choose another game. Yeah, right?
I agree. Yeah, dude. 5-card draw, I think, is so exploitative. People play it so bad and they're just like, oh, I'll just get away with this. And you're just like, no, like, stop it. Your draw gives your hand away and like you immediately are drawing dead. Either way, I agree.
And by the way, a lot of people think that about me. Apparently, I'm known as like a big O whale. Yeah, the other day Wasserson objected to the table allowing Big O in the game just to try and protect me because I was losing. I'm like, Was.
Trying to protect you?
Yeah, he was trying to protect me. I'm like, Was, stop the nonsense, bro. We're playing Big O. Like, I mean, are you serious? And he was dead serious. He's like, no, we're not. We cannot have Robert play Big O.
That's amazing.
That really happened. That happened a week ago.
That is nuts.
Yeah. I love Was. He's so much fun, man.
He's fun.
He came to play our game like 2 weeks ago, actually. Yeah, he was great.
I love his just like never cracking a smile demeanor, but always like being in a good mood somehow. It's weird.
Have you ever played golf with him? Oh my God, it's exactly the same way. He seems like he's angry the whole time, and all of a sudden he like gives you a high five. You're like, oh, where did this come from?
We're celebrating.
He is one of those guys, and I got to give it to Ben Lamb as well, that 10 years ago, I wasn't so happy to be around necessarily. Well, first of all, he was more on the grind. Now he takes poker less seriously. He's more about having a fun time. And of course, everybody's trying to win. But now he's like relaxed. I mean, 10 years ago, if you told Ben Lamb how you played a hand and it was anything different than the path of the way he would play it, you're just
the worst.
Yeah, it's
right.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
I mean, I'm telling you, the growth that I've seen Ben Lamb do and the likability that, like, he straight up wasn't even fun to be around. For me, I was like, it was like a tolerating being around. I knew he was a good guy, but I was like, dude, please. Like, the reason why I had to be around him so much is because we were both tight with Bobby Baldwin. Okay. And now, like, any chance I get, it's a pleasure to I know he's a good player, but I'll invite him to come play my games all the time just because he's so much fun to be around. Yeah. Splashes, doesn't give a shit. He just and he's a super, super good dude. Has come through for me in a number of times, and another guy like 10 years ago, I would never imagine I would like Ben as much as I do. And same thing I feel about Was right now. Like what? As a matter of fact, Was and I went to dinner last night. We took the ladies to dinner. Yeah, so we had a very, very nice dinner.
To be clear, your ladies, right?
Yeah,
okay,
yes.
You weren't in Prague?
Yes. No, we were not in Prague. We were in Prague. Yes. Yeah, we went to that Edo at the top of.
I've never been, but I've heard it's great.
I think it is something fantastic. It is a treat. I mean, dude, it'll attack the wallet, but to me, it's worth it every time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're steaked, you just you get to put the meals on there, or how does it?
No.
Depends on the deal. That's what I heard.
No. Actually, it's interesting because I remember John Hennigan one time said, so when you're playing pool and you're doing all, that's not all on the steak? I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, I guess he had different deals. I guess his bankroll for the month was like whatever when he was staked back in the day. Like it was all to do. And one of my favorite stories ever. So there was a time when I don't think that John Hennigan was even ever busted. He was just tired of losing, whatever. And Phil Ivey's like, well, just put all your shit aside and I'm going to stake you for a while. So Phil's staking him and John is just going through a few months where he's just chucking it off. Phil gave John $50,000. He says, go take a month in Cabo and just enjoy yourself. Take a month off.
That's insane.
I need to have a talk with my backer.
He gave him 50 grand and says, just go take a month off and just and let's get back to work in a month.
We had Chris Moorman on the pod, and obviously you've heard of him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he used to be the all-time whale of staking because he was crushing so much, and just all his friends would ask him for a stake, and he would just stake them, and then. But he's horrible on the organizational side, so it would just everybody's losing. He said he once put a wedding ring on stake.
I think he put prostitute on
he would
steak
put strippers
time.
on steak.
I mean, not quite 50,000 worth or whatever.
I'm sure,
maybe I'm sure the ring was a little teeny, but still
that's amazing.
I
love it.
He said he went through $5 million or something just staking.
I am certain that Tom Dwan's had a lot of stuff on his stakes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, Tom. The funny thing is, while Tom was staking me, he was getting staked. And I mean, that sounds funny, but to be honest with you, there have been a number of times in my life when I was being staked, and I'm staking 3 or 4 other people off of my own personal bankroll. Yeah.
That sounds crazy. I can understand.
Yeah,
for sure.
Put them on when you're pumped up, and then you get pumped down, and you still need the money back.
It's almost impossible for you to lose and me to lose. So what could go wrong?
Well, sometimes you're being staked not necessarily because of the financial need, but because you have a business deal that's just working great. Yeah. Like when Robl and I were together. I mean, for sure. There were times when I didn't need him to be staking me anymore, but it was just everything's just going smoothly. And at that time, I remember I was definitely doing business with other people for sure.
So the sexy time, and I there's some other things I want to touch on or whatever, but the kind of the turnover of when private games kind of became a thing. I know there's some animosity in Vegas or whatever, but I do think it was a good thing overall. And I know I'm kind of biting my tongue a little bit when I say that because I know crashing your game is a strong word, but I try to get in your game a handful of times, which is fine. I'm not trying to bring up old things, but I just want to say it was a something that I think most poker players didn't see in the future, so they kind of got aggressively defensive about. And I just think I'm more curious what was the foresight when it came to this needs to happen. Otherwise, poker's going to die. Or
who was the guy who won the main event about 7 or 8 years ago? And then I remember him coming and crashing my game.
Greg Merson, maybe?
Greg Merson.
Yeah, yeah.
And Greg Merson came in one day, and he's like, I don't care. And he just sat in the he showed up in my room like an hour beforehand. He just sat there, put his chips down, and he's like, I don't care, I'm playing. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really work like that. And no, I mean, I wasn't going to get in any kind of argument with him, but you know, it's nice to have your dear friend, Mr. Bobby Baldwin.
Baldwin holds the big hammer.
And Bobby's like, Greg, let me talk to you for a second. And they did a lap around the casino, and then that was the end of that. But I specifically remember Greg telling me, I think it was maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, he's like, Robert, I wanted to apologize to you that, and now I get it. What you're doing is actually really good for the poker business, and I'm making recreational players more regulars, and then eventually they spread out into the poker community. So these private games are actually great for poker. You know, and you know, people like the old school, you know, Bellagio original ways, like, hey, look, there's no, you know, everybody's got priority. You go by the list or whatever. But you know, think about it. If you go by the list and you have a major whale just sitting out there, and he just goes and fucks off his money in the blackjack or craps instead. How's that benefiting the poker community? You know, so the private games, you know, it might be difficult to see that, you know, oh shoot, because you might not be a part of it, but I would encourage people, you know, to see, okay, well, how can I be more of a part of that? And that's something, you know, and I can give the thumbs up to Oaken for like saying, okay, well, so this is what's happening, and you know, and Oaken's making his best effort to be a part of it. Now he and I are partners on the Venetian thing, and you know, I would say that you know, people are a lot more interested in playing with Oaken now than they were a year ago.
Oh,
right?
infinitely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Oaken's got this.
For those that don't know, Brian Oaken and JRB have been doing the Venetian deep stack stream over there. But do you just go around seeking out people that take a really long time and just fixing them? Is that your? Because Brian Oaken is famous for, I think he had
The longest 10 tanks in Las Vegas history.
Yeah,
Well,
he literally has hands where it's like 5 minutes into the push, a dealer sits down, they're playing the hand, the river comes, and there's a push. Like
listen. I know what you're referring to, but I will tell you that I do see an effort on his part
for sure,
of trying to get better, to be more socially aware, and be, you know.
That's what I mean. You're fixing him. It's
just like you said, you kind of pushed Robl like a little bit. Like, I think you have a good influence on Oaken too. And like, to be fair, like even before you guys kind of teamed up, he was making some efforts, even though like in like certain spots, he would be like, efforts be damned, I'm just going to do what I need to do on this river. It was never on the turn or the flop or like pre-flop or anything like that. It was just specifically rivers. But like, there's nothing like bluffing Oaken on the river and knowing that you have 20 minutes to think about it. Like, you just be like, because like, I mean, this is past Oaken. Like, I agree with him.
Listen, and it's not just about tanking. Basically, you have to be aware, the whale in your game, the two whales in your game, you have to be aware if they're ever in roll your eyes mode, whatever, because, oh, this person wants to play the deuce to 7 game, and you're like, no, we're not going to do that. No, if that interested in that's important to that person. Now, personally, like I do not like flips. And generally, you will not see flips in my game. The other day, you know, Keith Lear, who's like, he was literally annoyed. And it's the end of the day, you know, if it was during the game, I probably would have said something. But it was the end of the night, you know, you see, I didn't really say anything. And they did their 5K flip, you know. But generally, everybody knows that JRB, you know, that's the flipping is not a thing. You know, not in my games generally, you know. But again, you know, you got a guy who's like, he's had a rough night. He's like at the end of his wits, and he wants to do a flip, you know, and the game's over. Okay, fine. I just kind of acted like I didn't see it, you know. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, be aware of, and if this person has certain needs, certain wants, whatever, just to make him happy. But I will tell you, one of the things that makes recreational players happy is fast pace. Fast pace.
Like they can go to your point, they can go to blackjack and they can get that fast pace. They can go to craps and get that fast pace. They can go anywhere else other than poker and get that.
I actually think Robl might be faster than me right now, dude. I'm telling you, he's sure playing as many hands as me. He's playing as many hands as I am, that's for sure. I would like to see, the next time you see Robl and I play together, I want to get a hand count to see whose VPIP is higher.
Hand count and like a timer, like a sand timer, where it's like we see exactly how long you guys take.
Yeah,
I like that.
There you go.
All right, well, we talked a bunch of the, hold on, I'm going to crack open another one because I'm all out and you look like you're all out. But I want to talk some pain as well, like you're not called broke living JRB for no reason. And you talked about some of your backing deals, but let's talk about some of your downswings. I think I peeked in on the Berkey's podcast and you said something about a 5 million downer.
Well, I think it was, yeah.
Crack open the pain
such a
bottle.
good time, Art. Fuck you.
Well, the people like pain.
I mean,
just so you know, there's a million other YouTube channels out there. They can just go.
Let me do a little precursor. I've been on a downswing, and before this, I went to go play 2-5 at the Aria today for about 4 hours.
How did you do, Justin?
I demolished. I've never run so hot in my life. Oh my God, it was amazing. Sorry.
Is that right?
That is true. Like you got to get yourself right before the World Series.
See, I just don't know how you do that.
I don't know how. This is. I do it like once a month just to get my head right.
To go have fun with your boys and you splash about and you just don't give a shit, but to actually go there trying to win.
Nobody liked me, by the way.
If you ever see me in a 2-5 game, I strongly recommend you jump in there because I promise you, I am not trying to win. Okay? Oh my gosh.
Well, Justin was playing. Brad Garrett was in the game.
Brad Garrett was in the game.
How many times did you stack him?
Twice, I believe. But he was really nice on the second one. He really was.
What did he do on the first one?
Well, yeah, whatever. Yeah, no. Yada yada yada. But the second one, I just had the best hand, and it helped. That was easier.
Brad lives in my building at the Waldorf. He has a unit in there, and we're in the elevator off the top. And this guy is just so towering, and it's kind of just cool to just be hanging out with a guy that I've never gotten to play cards with him.
Yeah, I mean
he only plays like 2-5 and 5-10. That's probably why.
I played with him in tournaments before, and he's been super nice and cordial. But like this time, he had like earbuds in, and like I made a joke. I can't remember what it was. I'm sure it wasn't even that funny, but I saw him giggle, and then like someone else was like, "Hey, Brad," and he's like literally just like.
Pretending.
His head down. And I'm not saying he was pretending, maybe like it was in between songs when he heard my joke or whatever. But like Art was like, "Oh, get him on the podcast." And I was like, I don't think he's in the mood right now. I just busted him. Like I'm just gonna like be quiet right now. But either way, I don't know, like once a month, like I go play 2-5, maybe 5-10 or whatever, just to remind myself I can win at poker sometimes.
Yeah, you'll do that. You'll do like a deep stack tourney.
Dude, I played the Venetian daily for like a week straight, like 3 months ago. It was great. Like I didn't win any money. I'm just saying, like I honestly just did it. Sorry, like
that's how you know he loves it, folks.
I just want to let you like. This is a safe space of people that go broke all the time. So don't please feel free. Like,
the $5 million downswing, that was rough. But that kind of, it's not a true $5 million. It was $5 million, including when I was being staked. Well, yeah, was it really?
So someone's money, though.
3.5. No, I really, I mean, I'm just being honest. It was not $5 million. It was $3.5 million. It was $3.5 million. But, that's, okay, excuse me, it possibly was $5 million. I had $3.5 million. I had $3.5 million of my own. I was on my own, and it's possible that I started out winning. Yeah, because for a little bit there, I'm like, and it was interesting because at the time, Robl was interested in doing business with me again, and I'm like, Andrew, the games are actually the softest they've ever been that year because you're not in them. Let me see what I can do on my own. And he respected that. He was like, no problem. And then... so
you were working with Robl, ran it up to 3.5 and then...
No. I was working with a different guy. Marcus staked me for a little bit. Marcus Ryu.
Yeah.
And he and I quickly, had a nice little $6 or $7 million rush. And so I cashed out, I think, $3.5 million out of that deal. And yeah. Now the funny thing is, Marcus. And he would happily tell you this is the truth. It's like, you're winning so much money in such a short period of time. I think it was like 4 months, 3 or 4 months. And he's like, Bob Wright said, listen, if Marcus wants a seat, he can have my seat. And Evan Sofer said the same. Doc Sean said the same. The only guy who really wanted to play with Marcus was Bobby Baldwin. And I actually think that there's a chance Marcus used to deliberately lose pots to Bobby Baldwin because he knew if Bobby wanted him in the game, he was going to be in the game. I mean, it was crazy. Marcus's win rate was insane. He just completely just destroyed us. And he was learning poker, but he was really good at people and just understanding, and he has such a good feel for whether you're bluffing or you had it, and constant pressure. I actually learned a lot from Marcus, a lot of respect for him, and he wasn't like your technically sound poker player. Like, he probably did things that were not correct all the time, but the pressure part of it. And if I was ever in a hand with Marcus and I didn't have 2 pair, I just didn't think I could make it. Have you ever had somebody
No, of course,
like that?
dude. Like, it's crazy. You get check raise and you're like, well, I have an overpair, and you're just like, fuck. Like, I mean, shit. Like, I watched the $1 million cash game last night, and I fucking love it. Keating, like, check raise, 2 guys with jacks and queens on the 7-6-4, 2 diamonds, and I'm putting myself in their spots. I'm like, I probably just fold. I don't know. I'm just gonna fold. Like, I'm so scared because he's not gonna give up, and like, I don't know if I can hold on. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Right.
Not a lot of cards I like to come out. And what happened at the end of that hand, Justin?
The guy with jacks the guy with queens chickened out, and the guy with jacks held on, and the guy with jacks won like a $2 million pot. It was nuts.
But he had to pay
I didn't see that part. I didn't go that far.
He had to pay the jam on the river.
Peter, L.A. Peter from.
Yeah.
They basically like.
That was early in the episode. Okay, that was the $2 million pot.
Keating on Queen 10 offsuit.
The 3-6-7 flop. So he was like,
it was fucking.
Yes.
I applaud like Keating. Like, I thought it was a great bluff, and like the thing is, like, he got the queens to fold, and like in my mind I was like, well, jacks can't call here. This is silly because like the river came at ace of diamonds, I think, and it was just
But he's up against the guy he called down with bottom pair.
Exactly. I mean, it's Peter though. I mean, it's just Peter.
So for all you potential game runners out there, the most beautiful thing in that hand is the way Keating handles losing that pot.
That's right.
It's like just you. And I mean, buddy, if you can make poker fun when you're losing, and you kind of set an example for the other guys out there to behave that way when they're losing. Who wants to be around a bunch of miserable fucks every time they lose? They're fucking ripping cards, throwing it and cursing out the dealer. No. You be so pleasant like that.
I'm getting better.
Keating's like he makes it fun. You want to play with that guy again? Rick Solomon, #1. Tom Dwan, great. I'm just saying, Rick Solomon's like, how much was it? 500,000, and just pushes the pot across the table. He makes it so much fun to beat the guy a pot. You just want to play with him every day. It doesn't matter if he's winning or losing, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Is like Keating is brilliant at this. So you young possible future game runners.
Or people want to play in private games. Or people that
people want to play in private games. Exactly. Be a pleasant loser. And, and it's like, obviously it's not really going to change your result anyways, but it makes you more fun to be around,
Yeah, the hand is over. Now it's future game time.
That's right.
You just think about getting invited back, or if you're Alan's case, getting people to come and play with you.
No, Alan, dude, it's funny because I'm like, for the longest time I was not really a believer in the Alan Keating. What are you talking about? And he's just like doing just. I mean, I remember this guy when he was grinding out the 10, 20, 25, 50 over there.
Shit. Yeah. 5, 10 Bellagio back in the day.
I mean, Tony, I was there in a private game in Northern California where it was $270,000 to go pre-flop, and this motherfucking Alan Keating called blind. I mean, buddy, this is not a hustle. That's real money.
It is not a hustle. Definitely not a hustle.
270,000. And the reason why I know the hand is because I was in it. And I mean, and this guy, and this guy's all in. I'm all in. And Keating, call. What? Call. Now, and I've got ace king. This guy's got ace queen.
No.
And Keating hasn't looked at his hands. $700,000 in the pot. Okay? And the board is 9 high. Like 9, 7, 4, 3, 2, whatever it is, 9 high. What am I now? I've won the side pot with this guy, whatever, and Alan's all in. And I'm like, what are the chances of me winning from here? Ace king, I beat the ace queen, and I'm like, I'm already gonna sweat this now. It turns over the 10. I'm like,
Oh, 10's good. 10's great. Jack 10's amazing.
and but I think he found the 5 or the 6 on the second card, and I was like, oh yes, this is unbelievable. I won the pot, but I was a witness. I saw the guy call off blind. I mean, that was unreal. Yeah,
He's always had that gamble in him. I think he just kind of, I wouldn't say got lucky, but he got fortunate that he found that poker went in this more privatized like universe where like his style is not only profitable but like admired, and like people actually want to play with like people like that. And I 100% agree. Like,
okay, calling off 270,000.
Sure, but like
it's not profitable,
right?
For sure, not profitable.
Well, like now everyone wants to play with him now.
But being fun and in that particular group. 270,000. Basically, he's punting probably 100,000 by doing that. Is that $100,000 gift for that particular group worth it in the long run? I would say yes. I would say yes.
Profitable.
Like, I would say yes.
I mean,
I would
ad
say
spend.
You saw what he did with Ronaldo, right? I mean, like,
yes,
like
exactly.
offering to keep on running the same river, like when he just knows he's a dog.
Exactly.
I mean, guess what? Guess who he's going to want to play with?
Exactly.
I'm going to guess Keating. Like, I mean, shit, why
exactly.
not?
And I think he did play like 5 or 6 more times at
exactly.
Aria in his game.
I actually think he crushed too. Like, Ronaldo crushed, not Keating. I think Ronaldo like won a lot of money like during that stretch.
Yeah.
Good for him, by the way.
Yeah, he needs it.
But now Keating gets invited down to Brazil or wherever.
Oh, for sure. Probably invited to stay at dude's house, most likely.
That's true,
Yeah.
Sleep with my wife. I don't care. Oh, shit. Sorry, yeah, we'll review it a little bit. So yeah, like
Well, you were talking about my downswing. You know, yeah, there's a lot of pain in the downswing because I at that point I've been playing poker for a good 15 years, and it's like, okay, let me not go broke. I've got a good $3-4 million bankroll, and first thing I did was I bought myself a property. I bought a unit it was the Manor at the time. Now it's the Waldorf, and that's always a good idea when you're a degenerate gambler to get something stable in your life like that. And the downswing just I feel like I couldn't have run any worse, but maybe I definitely was gambling higher than my bankroll was. If you were to go within bankroll management guidelines,
As one does.
Yeah. The game at Aria, maybe designed by Bobby Baldwin, who knows, but the game would be as big as I could afford. Yeah. When I had the $4 million bankroll, the game was actually $200,000 buy-in, 5, 10, 15. In hindsight, I see that might have been Bobby's design because Robert is pumped up right now. We can play it. I remember he used to tell me, Robert, we got to go by demand. If the demand is 1-200, that's what we got. The demand. But I was the demand. Yeah. I was the demand. I mean, yes, for sure. I mean, Robert, you're pumped up right now. Let's do $200,000 buy-in. Do you know we played $200,000 buy-in for an entire year? The game was 5, 10, 15 for an entire year. Normally the game was $100,000 buy-in and 3, 6, 12. That happened for like 5 years.
Which is not big enough apparently.
How in the world did I survive that game?
Like we had Berkey on. He was in the mix during that time.
Yeah,
right?
he was in the $200,000.
Yeah.
He was there that year.
Yeah.
He was there that year, man. Berkey.
We had him on. Some of the stories he told about that game. Like,
Yeah.
I have a hard time like comprehending.
So when you say it was Billy's or Bobby's design, Bobby's design is like to get you to go broke so he can stake you. Or
Well, no. First of all, Bobby's never staked me.
he hasn't.
Bobby's never staked me. No, but Bobby is my mentor and a legend of the game and everything. But don't get anything. Bobby is a killer. You know what I mean? Or he's a shark. I mean, he is like, buddy, he and I can be high five friends, go, hang out, have drinks at the club, everything. And he is trying to bust me. Okay. And my wife sometimes would ask me, he's like, Nick Schulman's your best friend. And, why are you guys trying to beat each other out of all your money? Because we're playing pool for $20,000. And it's like, keep it with family. That's always been my mentality, and you when you're gambling, you're supposed to sincerely want to bust your friend. And I promise you, Robl and you've seen us battle before. He and I want to bust each other. You can watch me on the thing with Oaken. He's constantly trying to bust me, and I'm gonna bust
spots,
him.
And it's amazing.
I'm gonna bust him.
It's so good.
Yeah. No, he constantly wants me to know that he's a better poker player than me. Okay, fine. We're gonna see what happens. But listen, and it's good for the game. He and I are partners. I don't think anybody will ever think that he and I aren't trying to bust each other. Just like I'm trying to bust you. Once you're at a poker table with me, you have money in front of you. I'm trying to get it all.
Yeah, I think it's well said about the part where you want to keep it in the family, like with your friends. I was talking to a couple people who play our game, and one of the guys, I won't say his name, but he was playing in another private game, and he got stacked in this ridiculous spot where he just stand-up game, a few people left, guy's tilted, shoves it in for 10 or 20,000, and he calls with jacks, but he sympathetically calls, oh, I don't even know if I want to call here. Do you want me to call here? I know I have you beat. He's like, do you want me to call? And he calls, and then a guy wakes up behind him, one of the game runners with kings, and stacks them, wins this huge three-way all in. And then the guy's pissed, obviously. He just lost a huge pot. He backs up, he goes to eat his food or whatever. And then the guy running the game is so, are you gonna reload or what? I got somebody else that might want to play, and it's just and then this guy hasn't played that game since. He's just what do you know? He wants to play. He wants to play with people that want to play with him because they're friends and keep the money passed around. He's I know Art or Justin or obviously JRB would never fucking think to be an idiot.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
But that's a real real story.
That's embarrassing. That's wow.
Yeah.
And the guy's, are you going to reload?
Yeah.
A lot of our games evolve or devolve, however you want to put it, into kind of flipping it in the night. And it's usually just everyone that's stuck and maybe one guy that's winning all the money. And that's great because no one cares about winning or losing. It's just oh, this guy wants to get even, this guy wants to get even, this guy feels bad for winning. So let's just keep fucking around for a little while until everyone feels semi-happy and we can all go to bed or play baccarat or whatever it is, hypothetically. But it's a fun thing about, you said, keeping it in the family. It's nice because you make real relations with these people, and the people can afford it. We're
gamblers, and honestly, I'd rather be gambling with my friends than people I don't know.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least if you stack me 20 times, you might put me in the 21st.
No.
Wow. And he's seen you play, Art.
I was looking at Justin. It looked like I was looking at you. Okay, well, I just want to, before we sign off here, 20,000 a game pool against Nick Schulman. I want to hear some.
Yeah, isn't he a
stick? Oh yeah, no,
he's a stick, right?
Yeah, no, he's great. He's great. No, if he and I play, it's usually 20,000. Yeah. Oh, yeah, shit. No, he actually the last time we played, he's a little better than me, so he was spotting me, and I beat him real good the first game, or the first set, and then he's like, you don't need to get a spot for me, whatever, and then whatever. We make the adjustment, tiny adjustment, and then he beats me, and of course he's so happy he broke even, and I'm just like, why did I go and adjust? Of course I went for it, whatever. But it's your boy, and it's like you're frustrated, and you're like, and like real emotions come out, but it's still part of the gambling, and it's like you're never really mad at each other or whatever. You just, but you're gambling 20,000 is like serious money. Yeah. No, Nick and I won't play for less than that. I don't think. I beat him for. He came to my apartment back when I built it for the bachelor pad before poker, whatever.
Sorry, I didn't mean to scoff at the bachelor part.
Yeah. So and I beat him out of $72,000 at my apartment one day, and I remember and Ilya was in there. Are you sure? Because Ilya was involved. Ilya was involved with Nick on that, and Ilya's like, Nick, are you sure you're better than Robert?
Wow.
Yeah. It was one of those nights where I was just like, I don't know if you play basketball. It's one of those nights where you just can't miss a shot. It was one of those nights for me.
Or like golf, where you go. Do you play golf?
And Nick's just dizzy. No. I no. But Nick,
same kind of thing. You hit you tell him your
you're in the
handicap.
zone, like in fuego, whatever. There's tons of words for it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's no better feeling.
I was just in that zone.
Just like in poker, in all honesty, like when you're like your confidence is 100%. Generally speaking, you just can't lose. Like you play a tournament and you win it, and your confidence is 100%. The next tournament you play, I almost guarantee you're going to final table it. It's that like kind of like.
But don't get me wrong, Nick has completely owned me lifetime in pool. I promise you. And
sure, but you had that one time. You had that one time.
Yeah. I remember that one. Yes.
And you guys out
And I
there.
almost had him last time, but we broke even.
I was just gonna say, you guys out there can't see it, but there's a pool table just off camera over here.
There
And I
is.
was gonna play with him, but I'm not anymore.
There is.
But he has to go to dinner. Oh no.
No 20,000 for the art man.
No, nice.
So before we sign off, just real quick, is there anything you want to promote? Like I know the Venetian has a great thing with Poker Go going on right now, streaming. But like anything else you want to like kind of like tap on?
So I'm just gonna kind of fill you in on what's going on in my life. The Venetian stream is amazing, and I'm really enjoying it. And the guys at Venetian are really treating me really well, and makes me want to spend a lot of time there. And they're opening their new restaurants, Boa, and that there's this new Korean barbecue Michelin star place that's opening in a little bit. But anyways, overall, for sure, I'm really happy about Venetian and happy about my partnership with Oaken and being over there. But that being said, there is a good chance that I do move my family to Dubai or the Middle East within the next year or 2 years maximum, because with the Wynn opening up in the Emirates, and Rob Young has his Onyx. He has an Onyx brand, which is like kind of a high-end casino within a casino. You've heard of Merit casinos in like Cyprus and out there. So Onyx has his brand. Rob Young has the Onyx brand in there. So I'm the host of his Onyx brand in there. So next week I'm actually traveling to Cyprus to run games with him, for his room for 10 days over there. And then after that, I hope to go to Montenegro and play in Robl's game, hopefully having a little success. But now I just found out that they're opening a new Merit/Onyx room again in Azerbaijan, in Baku, which will open, I think, summer of 26 already. Yeah, so I'm probably going to be based in Dubai, and then just go to Cyprus and to
Short hops, right?
And then come back here for the World Series and for F1 and whatnot, and continue to do stuff with the stream with the Venetian. But I honestly, I feel like there's so much amazing opportunity coming up in the Middle East that I want to be out there and in Europe. Yeah.
You're probably right. Yeah, we had Mark Safe on, and he said kind of not the exact same thing, but he has a friend that's high up in the win over there that's like opening this, and he was just like more excited than the actual executive that was like going over. He's like, dude, do you not know like what you're about to run into over there? Like, it's gonna be amazing. The Shaw days are back.
No. And something that the general public may or may not know, but there is a lot of concern about games being on the upright in the square. So if I'm planted out there, I mean, if you were going to go play a game out there, for sure you would want to reach out to me before you just go out and play any game. And most likely, I'll be doing a game at the Wynn or wherever the most legitimate place is. That's what I'm going to be involved with. So that's what I'm thinking, and I got wifey on board to possibly move the family.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is about Dubai is that the it's just so safe for the families, and the environment. The schools are amazing. And so I'm like, to be honest with you, my family's probably way safer in Dubai than they are right here in Las Vegas. So, and I love it here. I absolutely love it. And the kids are going great school. The kids are 5, 5, and 3. But I grew up overseas. Like we talked about at the beginning of the, and I always saw myself living overseas. Actually, at that time, I saw myself living in China or Taiwan. And a lot of my friends I grew up with actually do that. But I think Dubai. I actually love Dubai.
I mean, for you, not much is going to change. You're going to go from a high rise in a really hot city to a slightly higher high rise in a hotter city.
Yeah.
It's like
and
for slightly higher stakes.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It is very hot out there for sure. Yeah, but I just think the opportunity is coming out there, and it's like everybody I know in the high stakes world plans on definitely visiting and checking out the Wynn and whatnot. Yeah. And the Wynn is just the first property.
Sure.
There's going to be who knows what's going to happen.
The first dominoes.
They're yeah, exactly.
The new Macau in the early days, right?
I mean, but better, I think.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
It's made way better.
Definitely better.
I agree. So.
And then it's Broke Living JRB on Twitter. Is that
yeah. To be honest with you, I have not given my Twitter any kind of attention recently. I think I'm going to get back on social media and start popping again and engage with the audience. It is fun. It's interesting because like my audience saw me go from the broke single life, hanging out with all the hot girls and doing all the cool things, when I got my first Bentley convertible and all that other stuff, and to going and being equally happy and happier with the wife and the kids, and and just like, and you watch this group evolve. And the funny thing is, like, so I started out with like 50,000 followers. Maybe now I have like 42,000 followers. But it's like your audience kind of grows with you, and
right. Like The Simpsons. Yeah, fair enough.
Like The Simpsons.
Right. I'm just saying, like, they started writing towards like the audience. Like before, like when I was a kid, they wrote for people that like Bart. And then they graduated to like, now they're right for people that like.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, sorry,
cool.
I thought it was like known thing. Sorry, yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Because when I was like 14, like everyone loved Bart, so like they wrote for people like Bart.
Sure.
So the characters aren't aging, but the fan base is.
That's kind of this. Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
I appreciate that. No, don't feel silly. I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what it is. My audience has kind of grown with me and appreciated that, and one of the things that the people out there, my haters and the people that like me, they've always appreciated that I've been as transparent as possible. And that's just who I am. I'm just like, you don't like it, you like it, doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to be me, So, and it's kind of worked for me.
It's a good place to be.
I would say it's worked for you. And again, thank you for doing this.
Yep.
Is that
Appreciate
it?
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys. All right, man.
Me and my buddy, we making all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They never catching us slacking. Me and my buddy, we working hard for this money. Whoa, you know I've been in my bag, yeah. Buddy, I got it like that, yeah. Y'all better stop. Me and my boy gon' climb to the top. Sidekick game like Calvin and Hobbes. Batman and Rob. Y'all know me, I'm down for the cause.